Hey, I'm Asti.
And I'm Vanessa.
And welcome to Invyted In, the podcast where we're spilling the tea on all your favourite influencers.
So each week we're going to be bringing you the juiciest gossip with the influencers on our platform who are absolutely killing it at social media. So whether you're an influencer yourself or you're thinking about just getting started, welcome, you're invited in.
A massive thank you to our amazing sponsor, Premier Podcast Studios, for bringing you this episode. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Invyted In. Today we're joined by one of our amazing food creators, Diana. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're super excited to delve into your journey as a food content creator and influencer. So maybe just to kind of start off, do you want to maybe introduce yourself and how you kind of became a food blogger as you are today?
Yeah, so my name's Diana. I started food blogging. So I pretty much always took pictures of food. Like, I love going out to eat. I did it way before I did food content creation. And so many people were like, you should start a blog, you should start posting on Instagram. And I had no idea that there was a whole world of food bloggers or anything to do with that on Instagram. I even said, I was like, who is actually going to care about my pictures other than myself? And so I started doing it and it just took off so quickly.
And when was this? How many?
It was like a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And
wow, so not even that long ago.
No,
recently.
It really wasn't that long.
Yeah.
And then like Reels came in, so then I was like, okay, you've got to keep up with that. It was like pictures weren't doing well anymore at all. So that took a bit longer because obviously that was like learning to edit and learning what was working and just I think everyone was sort of getting used to it. Yeah. And then that really took off. And then I think followers started coming and then I started getting invited places and then it turned into more paid stuff. And at the time when it started taking off, I was having like an awful time at work. And luckily I was still living with my parents, so I quit. And I wasn't really worried about like the financial side of things. But it then was more like just gave me so much more time to focus on food blogging, really. And that's where it sort of went.
So now you're...
It's so good.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so you're doing this now full time?
Yeah. So that's what I say. I don't want to say that it's been full time since then because I wasn't actually earning. I was full time, but you know, I wasn't earning anything.
Yeah.
Fine. So I think probably for the last year has been
Full time.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that like the work environment was so crap, but like it's great that you had this.
I mean, it's kind of made this whole thing
it's like a silver lining that you discovered this and then you grew and blew up, which is like insane.
It was great.
When you were first starting off then, when you were blowing up as well, were you posting consistently or was there just like one post that particularly went viral and you were like, oh crap, I gotta actually maybe do this more often?
I think before it was a bit more fun and just here and there, and if I wanted to do a video, and then I did one which was I think the one that sort of showed me what works well on Reels. And I can't actually remember how many views it got, but I went from about 2k to I think I went from 10k to 20k in about a month.
Wow.
And it was crazy. And then it kind of felt like you had a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
Because then I had so many DMs. And obviously restaurants don't know that has happened so quickly. So when they see your page, you're like, oh, you've got 20,000 followers.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I just had 10 a minute ago. And this sort of happened really quickly.
Chill.
Yeah. I was like, whoa. And then you just get a lot more comments and a lot more people DMing you and like, oh, where should I go? What can you post? And I was like, oh my God, this really
is a bit overwhelming.
Yeah. But then at the end of the day, I was like, this is a lot more fun than my normal job. So I just sort of stuck with it from then, really.
Can you say what the original post was that went viral?
Yeah, do you remember what the video?
Yeah, it was I don't know if you know the hot pot, like make your own thing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Those do super well, those videos. I see them a lot.
And I had never been to one. And it was, do you know what it was actually? It was my first video that I did a voiceover. And
people love a voiceover.
Yeah, and I was really nervous about doing it. And even looking back, I'm like, I can't listen to it. It sounds so cringy because I just didn't know like how to like pronounce things or anything. So then I was like, okay, I've got to stick with voiceovers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it was a bit longer than my normal videos, just a bit more detail. And I started putting my face in more videos, which I think people really like to sort of see who they're looking at or listening to, which, worked really well. So it kind of went from like a hidden page to myself and that really worked.
Yeah. So fun. I feel like, a lot of people now like want to, even if it's like a food page, like, they want to see the creator behind it.
I mean, I do. I think
I do as
feel
well.
Connected with them more.
Yeah, otherwise it's just like, who is this? Like, it could just be...
But I find that as well, like at events, people can't see that, oh, hi, Dan. I'm like, I have no idea who you are. And then they show me their page and I'm like, you've never posted your face. But they look I feel a bit rude when I say, oh, I don't know who you are.
Oh,
and they're like, oh, you follow me?
I just pretend I know them. I'm like, oh.
I can't. They can see it on my face. I'm just like, hi.
To be fair, I'm the same because I don't really show my, starting to more with Invyted and stuff, but I don't really show my face either. So when people, come up to me, I'm like, how do you know who I am? Like, I don't show my face.
You actually play it so well, though, because we were actually in a situation the other day where someone was like, oh my God.
So bad.
This was lovely to meet you. And I was like, oh, they must know each other. So I went to Ashley. I was like, oh, how do you know each other?
Oh,
and this is away from her.
Oh, yeah.
And Ashley was like, I have no idea.
I was like, I have no idea. Yeah, thank God you did it away from her. That would have been
so glad. How you guys know? That would have been so good.
That would have been so awkward. No, I was just like, I have no idea who that is. Like, we have to figure it out. Anyway, it was obviously a creator, but I was like, oh my God. Also, I just forget. Like, if I've met, you meet so many people, unless you've met them like a couple times or like you kind of interact on their accounts, that you really know who they are.
Yeah.
So funny.
And there's a lot of them around.
Yeah.
So is that like your strategy going forward with like the content you're posting out? It has to be like voiceovers, must have like include your face. Do you have like a checklist that you have to do with like all your videos? I think
for more, I call them like serious reels.
Okay.
Which obviously might be more paid stuff or restaurant collaborations. If it's just my own stuff, it sort of depends like how much time I have or what I want to post. And also I've noticed as well, it doesn't have to be with a voiceover and your face in it. Like I did one the other day and I wasn't even planning on doing a reel. I just had some time and I didn't have much content. And it was a Whispering Angel rooftop. And it literally took me about 10 minutes to do. My face isn't in it because I wasn't planning on posting it, and it's on like 600,000 views. It completely, and it's like that was like a 6-second video. It's done really, really well. Like obviously they're really happy with it, and I was just like, I had no idea that was going to happen.
It's so hit and miss.
It is,
which is crazy, and people don't really understand that. I feel like, I don't know, sometimes restaurants, obviously we've got a following, and when you post content, it's likely to do, like, it'll be good content. But you never know how many people it's going to reach, and the brands can get really like...
I've had that where I actually worked with one agency and I actually just said I don't want to work with you anymore because they would ask you to do a reel and then just complain if it didn't do as well as like a previous reel.
So
and
like,
you can't control that.
And this is the thing, I'm like, that has nothing to do with me. Like I've done my best. I obviously wanted to do well. And you know, they were like, oh, we were expecting it to da-da-da-da. And I was, or they would ask you to, like, make sure it would get a certain amount of views. And I was like, that isn't actually possible.
Well, if you want to do that, you pay for the paid ads then. Like,
and I just said, I was like, I can't do that. I think if I could do that, every video would be on 1 million. Do you know what I mean? So I think things like that, it's like, they do need to understand it isn't actually in our hands to control that.
And also the algorithm goes in ways. I mean, like, sometimes, like, your video views will hit, like, consistently like quite high, and then like suddenly there'll be like a period of time where it's just like really bad, and you're like, oh, so bad.
I think this is one of the things like brands need to understand. You have to, when you're working with creators, just take it with a pinch of salt sometimes, because like the creators, they're doing their best to create videos that they know that they think will land with their audience really well. But it doesn't always happen. So just take it with a pinch of salt, brands. Just calling out all the brands out there that are doing the same thing that they did to you.
And I do also think that they also need to listen to our opinions more about the content, because I think it's the most frustrating thing when a brand changes everything about the video. They ask it to be natural to your feed. It has nothing to do with what I would ordinarily
post. The creator knows best.
And then it doesn't do well. And they're like, what happened?
What's your fault then?
And I'm like, I would never have actually posted that or in that way or that length of content. I was asked to do a video for over a minute long with no voiceover. And
it's too long.
This is what I mean. And it was because it was paid, I had to use royalty-free music. So I was like, you can't even use like a trending song. And I was just like, one is gonna, what are you watching? Like just clips for a minute.
That's a lot. That's too long.
And they were just, I even said to them, I was like, I can't guarantee anything with this post because I would never post. If I'm not talking in it, it's probably gonna be 10 seconds max, just showing like what's going on. And they said, and like it did okay. Luckily, they were fine with it, but it's just that kind of thing. I thought if they complained, I was like, I was ready.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you did this. Because I just think that stuff is so ridiculous.
It's super annoying.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, moving on, maybe talking about, like, maybe some of the good brands that you've worked with. What's been maybe your, to date, like, favourite brand or obviously favourite restaurant that you've collaborated with so far?
best brand I probably worked with was Deliveroo.
Oh, fun.
I would always go back and work with Deliveroo.
Yeah.
They really allowed just like creative freedom. They listened to you. I think they approved the content like immediately. It was just so easy.
It's so much nicer when they do that. If it takes weeks for approval, you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I think it's frustrating though when it's like the back and forth and it's like tiny little details.
Yeah, they keep asking for changes as well. Like, so annoying.
But yeah, they were absolutely amazing to work with. And then I think as well, this sounds really bad, but they were the first brand that paid me on time. Like every other brand, it's like, I have to chase you. Yeah. And I actually remember the day they should have paid me and I got the money and I was like, oh.
Wow, you were like expecting to chase them.
I was like, I didn't even know where it came from. I was like, who is this? I was like, oh my God, they paid me.
Such a good feeling.
All of it together was just like, that was such a smooth process. Yeah.
So nice. Yeah, no, Deliveroo is great.
Yeah.
I love Deliveroo.
So if you wanted to work with like a really great brand out there, or is there like basically a brand wish
like
list
a dream
that you
brand,
want to work with?
I wouldn't say I have a brand in particular.
Yeah.
I definitely want to work with more like tequila and Mexican stuff. Potentially a trip to Mexico. Like that's sort of like the dream. Yeah. I'm just like, I love everything about Mexico.
Yeah.
That's
you're the spicy mark. Yeah. You love your spicy mark.
I'm like, that is my dream.
This is Diana's like, what's the word? Your thing. Yeah. It's your thing. She loves spicy mark.
I love them. I think about them.
Trip to Mexico.
Yeah.
Take us with
you. Take us with you.
Try and get that sorted.
I would absolutely
fun. Okay, so we've just talked about your favorite brands and a brand you potentially want to collaborate with. So any tequila brands out there, like hit Diana. Slide into those DMs. But I'm just wondering now, have you worked with a brand that's been a negative experience? We don't have to name any names, but just sort of curious as to what happened there.
Yeah, have you been to like a restaurant?
I went to
awful.
So I got invited, or I thought I got invited to a restaurant.
Oh no.
And the thing is, they had messaged me like on 3 different occasions, asked me to come in, and I was like, okay. And then one day, it was around the corner from here actually, so I was like, oh, it's not close, it's not far from my house.
Yeah.
So we went, and it was meant to be on the rooftop, which is what I said to them. I was like, I don't really want to go to the normal part of the restaurant because I find with brands, restaurants in particular, I don't really like working with them if there isn't really like a selling point to the restaurant. Because I'm like, there's so many restaurants in London. If it's not something I can give my followers, there's not.
And you think it'll be good content.
So I was like, rooftop, it was starting to get warm. So I said, fine, I can come if it's the rooftop. Got there, they said there's no room on the rooftop. And I was like, and then you don't want to look like you think you're better than everyone. And like you should, but I was like, but that's why I'm here, to film the rooftop.
Yeah.
So I kind of just went with it. And we sat downstairs, and it was meant to be a Mexican night. And I was like, okay. They said, yeah.
I think I might know what this is.
And I was like, okay. They had like 2 cocktails, and they said there's like a massive cocktail list of margaritas. And I was like, there were 2. One of them was like a coconut kind of milk one. So it was kind of like really, you have to like that if you want that.
It's like specific.
And they didn't have a spicy marg, so I was like, Jesus Christ. Literally, I was like, it's just getting worse. My boyfriend was like, it's going to be fine. So we ordered like some bits, and every single thing we ordered just came on its own. So
it's so annoying.
But like just chips. And I was like, but the chips is meant to go with the main. Yeah. And then by the time the chips are finished, or it'd be cold. Yeah. And I was just like, I didn't really understand what was going on.
Was that so hard to make content as well? You want it like all together.
That's the thing. Nice, and it got to the point I was like, I don't really
Did they know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, can we just have something together? Like, I couldn't make a video of just chips, like without anything next to it, or then just like a bit of chicken with nothing else on the side.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, I just said, I was like, it's fine. Thank you. I ended up getting another glass of wine, so I was like, this is just stressing me out. And then we left, and they were like, oh, actually, you meant to pay. And I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I just thought, what are you talking about? Like, what are you...
Yeah. Oh, so they didn't like tell the staff
understand
what was going on.
And then she was like, oh, can I see the messages and blah, blah, blah. And because in the message that they sent, it didn't say that the meal was comped. And I was like...
Oh, come on. No.
Yeah.
Did you pay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it wasn't a collab, they just were...
I don't know what... I think it was meant to be.
Did you message them after?
Yeah, and they just gave like a really rubbish reply and were like, oh, so sorry about that.
Did you make the video in the end or no?
No, I was just like, I'm not putting my time into making a video for that. So I was like, I don't even really know what to say.
Also, you paid for it when you...
That's what I mean.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. But this is the thing. It was so bad that if I was a paying customer, I would have asked for money off my bill anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I was like, that experience was ridiculous. Like the food was coming... We were there for about 3 hours.
Around, like a breadcrumb at a time.
Yeah. Oh my God. Just like every single...
Yeah. That's awful.
That was one where I thought about it for weeks. I was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
That was really my worst. Like,
oh dear.
I thought it was an invite experience. I don't know what
I've had a few of those where like you think it's just miscommunication. You turn up and then they're like, they bring you the bill and then you're like, no. And then they have to check and it's a whole thing. I mean, that happens quite a lot.
For me, that happens a lot, but it's never happened.
Wait, they've
actually made me pay. Yeah. So has that
happened to you?
Have you ever had to pay?
I've had to pay 50p extra. That was ridiculous.
Do you know what? Those ones though, they really irritate me.
I'm just like, no, you're joking. So I'll tell you about that one. So what I was gonna say was I get brought the bill a lot, right? Mm-hmm. But again, not a lot of the time they're like, oh sorry, and they make a mistake. Yeah. But one time I went to a restaurant. It was quite a nice, like fancy restaurant, and they were like still or sparkling. So I was like, oh still. They bring the still water, whatever, and we ordered not a lot. It was literally like 2 starters and 2 mains. We didn't even get dessert. And then they brought the bill and we had like and they give you like a tab. And it went 50p over the tab because of the water, right? Because I asked for tap water, they didn't have tap water. So that's why I was like, oh, still then. And they made me pay the 50p. And I was like, you are, I mean, obviously like fine, but like, what? I was like,
with those ones I do think it's about the principle. I'm
it's just ridiculous. It's just like you also didn't have tap water, or like what it could have been. It could have been from any part of the bill. It
must just be so silly to get the card machine out and be put in like 50p.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I was like, oh, like they were like, oh, come on, that was a funny one. But yeah,
I think the ending is always a bit awkward because I think when that happens.
Yeah,
it just puts like a bad taste in my mouth.
I find it so awkward. Even now, like you've been doing it for like over a year. Like I've been doing it for a couple of years. Like I still find it so awkward at the end. Like if they don't know, if they can't come up to you and they're like all good, like hope you enjoyed it, great. Then you can feel free to leave. But when you're like sitting there, like it's so awkward.
Oh dear,
so awkward.
Oh dear,
yeah,
terrible.
Struggles. Okay, so I guess, like, I know we spoke about, like, a bad brand. Have you had any, like, I don't know, other kind of crazy stories that have happened, whether it's with a restaurant brand or even, like, at an event with other creators? Any, like, weird experiences? Or has it kind of been smooth sailing?
It's definitely not been smooth sailing. I just can't think of them right now. I think I've had a lot of experiences around the paying aspect and that sort of awkwardness. And for me, I think where it's been like a tab and it's gone over like £1 or something like that, I just find that so uncomfortable.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the main thing for me is probably with restaurants asking for crazy deliverables. I mean, I know you're on my private story and I post them all the time.
When you post the stuff.
And it's just sometimes having a conversation with them and I'm like, are you joking?
Yeah.
Or I've been really honest with them sometimes. I think it's actually just really disrespectful to ask for like 12 different things.
Literally.
With a tabbed meal. Like it's not even like fully comped. It's like you can have £100.
Yeah.
And I think the weirdest one was it was a fine dining restaurant and I was like, your starters are about £30.
Yes.
How far can £100 go?
Yeah.
And then they asked my +1 for a 5-star Google review. I was like, are you joking? Like,
what? No way.
They asked for so much. I was like, brands that have paid me thousands of pounds haven't given me half the deliverables that you've given me.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, I feel like my crazy stories are just like negative experiences.
I mean,
with restaurants and stuff.
And I feel like some of the smaller ones don't realise. I'm actually not even small ones, like just brands just don't realise how other brands will pay and then they're asking for like, I don't know, 3 reels, 2 TikToks, like 10 stories. It's like, no, no.
I think it's just the whole education thing, isn't it? Like the smaller brands don't understand how much effort and time is like creators put into these videos and that you're taking time out of your day to go and do the content for them. And for them, sometimes they just don't see creators as a person sometimes, I find. And just expect all these deliverables. But I also can empathize with the brands that are smaller because they have like limited budget. So that's why they're trying to like stretch it out as much as possible.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of it's a tricky one.
It's a tricky one.
It is tricky. And I think that's why I think when there's a few things that they ask for, I don't mind just explaining that that's quite a lot that you're asking. What you would normally charge, but then there's some I'm like, it's brands that ask for specific things where I'm like, you are educated in this.
You know what you're doing.
Like there's this one, I don't know if it's a PR company or this one woman, and I've seen everyone talk about her, and she keeps asking for when you do a reel for the restaurant to make it a paid collaboration so that they can boost it. And I'm like, so you can charge more money to boost it, but you're not giving me any money to do the reel.
Yeah.
And she's literally messaged me like loads and loads of times, and every time I say the same thing, I'm like, I'm not making it a paid collaboration because you've basically just told me that we've got the money for your video, but we're not going to give it to you.
We're going to give it to the ads.
But so that's what I mean when I say enough to be able to make it a paid collaboration. You know enough that you know how that benefits your side, but you still wouldn't offer any budget to the creator. So with those companies, I'm like, no. Whereas when it's just like a small little business, and I'm like, yeah, that's... Even with small businesses, I'm like, I'd rather do more for you anyway without
you
any
asking.
money. Yeah.
It's so much better when they don't ask. You're way more likely to do more, and people don't get it.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't get it. Just if you ask for a reel up front, or like a lot more than that, maybe it's just like, oh, but you don't know how it is, or like what the content will be, or the lighting, like that can really change.
And I've said to restaurants, which I've noticed, which is kind of weird, is that I've just said I'm happy to do a reel if I enjoy the experience. And so many of them aren't happy with that. And I'm like, do you not think I'm going to enjoy it? Like, that's a bit weird that you're not.
True, actually.
Because I'm like, my whole page, like, I get really excited when I go somewhere that I like to share it. I'm like, this is why I started this. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I can't guarantee a reel
if
I don't know what it's going to be like, or if I have a horrible experience. Now, if we've ended some sort of contract and I've now got to make up a post or something like that, I don't want to do that. So I'm like, if I like it, of course I'm going to do a video because I want to do a video. And so many restaurants just like, no.
Yeah, they're like, we need guaranteed. It's like, well, then no.
But then I'm like, now if I go and I do a negative reel, you're going to be unhappy.
Yeah. So honestly, some of them are so picky. It's so difficult. It's like a fine line.
For anybody who is just starting off in their content creation journey, especially since you've been doing this for like a year or so and you've blown up actually very quickly, do you have any tips for these guys, and what should they do? What should they look out for?
Yeah, so I would say that you should definitely focus on what you love and focus on what you're doing instead of trying to do, especially in the food industry, just every invite that comes your way. It's fine to reject some if they're not really for you, because then you end up building good relationships with restaurants. And I get loads of restaurants messaging me about margaritas and about tacos. And I'm like, for me, one, that's exciting, but I also know that my followers like that too, because I posted that you follow me for a certain reason. And I think that's okay. Like, I also have people messaging me and I send them to other creators that I know do more food or more drinks in that sort of field because I don't want to do that. And I'm not as passionate about it. And I think you can tell.
You can see through.
You can tell with certain videos. I'm like, I wouldn't be able to smile as much if I was doing that. You know, like, I love Indian food, but it doesn't excite me to go out for an Indian meal. And a few people have messaged me and said, oh, have you got any good Indian spots? And I'm like, no, but I know a lot of creators that I see, they go to Indian restaurants all the time. And I'm like, you can see that they love it. And that's their thing. So I think focus on what you like. And once you sort of get that niche down a bit, you can broaden out. And I think you then start to build a relationship with your followers and they ask lots of questions. And that's why I think my following has grown quite a lot, because then I've sort of gone into like more like hair and nails and other stuff. But that, I don't think that would have happened if I just sort of did every job that I got. Yeah. And being consistent. I think especially with the algorithm as well. That's the one thing I would always say. Like, whatever video you do, even if you're only doing it twice a week, just do it twice a week. Don't leave it a long time, because otherwise it will mess up the algorithm. It does.
Sure. How like consistent are you being on social media?
I think at the moment on Instagram I try and post like every other day. On TikTok probably every day, just because you can do really random
TikTok
stuff.
can be a lot more random.
Like, I can post like 2-3 times a day on TikTok because it's just
sick.
They're fine with anything. So with that, it's all right, because then I can leave it for maybe 2 or 3 days in between if I'm really busy. But sort of any longer than that, I do notice a complete change in my reach. Like if I go on holiday, it's very stressful.
It is stressful.
Because
I know, I'm going away soon,
relax,
and it's
but
like,
then,
what do I do?
Is it on the back of your mind constantly?
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't have any content to post because I'm not in London. People follow me for London content. Then do I start posting travel content, which I want to get more into, but then it's like people might not, I don't know, might not do as well. It's hard.
I had a conversation about this with my manager, and she was saying the best way to sort of broaden out is to do it off the back of what your followers follow you for. So if you're doing travel content, maybe do like food, and then it can go into
more
something
into
else.
travel.
And she was saying that if you were doing maybe a get ready with me, do it for a brunch or do it for dinner, like something that they know you're doing.
Yes. Yeah. Rather than something completely random. Because other people will just be like, why am I following you now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No,
because I have that. I don't know if you get it, but sometimes I'm scrolling on TikTok and I'm already following someone and I'm watching a video and I'm like, why did I follow you in the first place? Like, I don't remember why I followed you.
Because it could have been like one random video.
Yeah, exactly.
It needs to all kind of link.
Whereas it can happen the other way, where I'm seeing a video and I'm like, oh my God, have to be following you. And then I'm like, I am already following you. So I'm already realised that I like you. So I think either way, it's quite good to always go back to what you're doing.
Where you started.
Are you actually thinking about branching out into somewhere, like a different industry apart from food?
I mean, food is always going to be in my heart. Like, I love it so much. But I definitely want to do just more like lifestyle stuff. Which I think would be good. I mean, I do get a lot of questions just about other stuff, but that's the thing. I didn't know how to do it sort of organically, without it just looking really random on my feed or for my followers that obviously do follow me for food. So yeah, I've just sort of been interacting a lot more with my followers, more like polls and stuff on
see
Instagram.
What they like.
Yeah, and the thing is, whenever I do that, lots of people do ask for more like behind the scenes stuff. People it's just a bit nervous. I just get a bit nervous. I'm like, I know you're asking for it, but like,
I don't know what to show. I get that.
Yeah, you don't quite realize how much thought, like as a non-creator myself, like you don't realize how much thought goes into like the content creation space, especially if you're trying to like go into a new industry. Seems like scary stuff, and that sounds condescending, and it's really not. It generally seems like quite stressful, like you said.
Yeah, you really need to just like think about it. It's like it's always on. It's like all the time. It's like I'm even thinking about like what content do I post over the next few weeks, because it's like if you don't have a backlog of content, then it's like
I'm actually curious now, like, so you've created this as a whole business, right? Down the line though, do you see yourselves, like both of you, actually doing content creation for the rest of your life, or? It's quite a dark, deep question. Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah, because like, where do you see this going into?
I mean, for me, I'd say like my one is still my hobby. Like Invyted's very related, obviously, to content creators, influencers and stuff. But I feel like it's what I love to do. And like, I find myself like after like my work day, like throughout the night, like very late at night, I'm like editing my Eat with Us, you know, because it's like, that's what I want to do. And that's how everything started. So probably I'll be doing it. It's my hobby, so
and how about yourself?
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I love it. I think. So now, like recently, in the last couple of months, I signed with management, and that's just made things so much easier. So I think before, like literally the day that I got the phone call with them, I was like about to give up. I was like, this is too much. But it was because there's just so much admin behind it.
Did they reach out to you, the management?
Yeah,
right.
And I was very skeptical at first, but then I was just like, I'm not enjoying this as much as I used to. Like I started this, I wanted to just make videos, and I just feel like so much of my time now is doing emails and contracts, and I was like, that's not what I want in my day. Yeah. So I think with that side gone, definitely, like I love it.
So do they like manage, because I don't have a management for my food thing, but like do they manage, do you find yourself getting a lot of paid collaborations through them? And do you have to like do everything, I assume, through them now?
Yeah. Other than
the gifted
like
stuff,
or DMs, like if it's just like a casual.
Yeah.
thing. Because I find sometimes DMs are just a lot easier than going through people.
Yeah.
I just feel like, because I literally had like one last week on a Sunday night, and I was like, I can come tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's easy.
It was so
rather
easy.
than the whole email thing.
Because that's the thing with me as well. It's not just like business for me. I do love going out to eat. I really, really do. And I love creating content.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I explained to them early on, I was like, especially with invites to restaurants, I don't need them to all be paid. Like, I'm very happy to go if they don't have a budget to a few of them.
Yeah, if it's appealing enough, then
like there's some that I do personally just really want to go to.
Yeah.
I'm like, to me, even just going, I'm like, this is great.
So much fun.
Yeah.
What's like your favourite restaurant at the moment in London? Or like a couple?
Uber.
Yes.
Shoreditch.
So good. You went back?
Yeah. I literally went back twice that week.
What type of genre of food is it?
It's like
Pan-Asian.
Yeah, Pan-Asian. Yeah. We saw each other at the launch event.
Yeah.
Which was fun. It was full of influence.
Oh, that's actually really handy because it's my sister's birthday coming up and I need to take her
nice,
somewhere.
isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
I went for my best friend's birthday like last week.
Oh,
it's just really cool. Like the interior is really nice. I actually want to go back because
it's so good.
Uber,
so
like
good.
UBA.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Nice. Sorted.
Uber. I think so. Yeah.
Amazing.
So nice.
So nice.
We'll move on now to the icks. We've basically got a section of the podcast where we basically read out a list of statements and then we can all discuss whether we think it's an ick or not.
Okay.
So
and it's kind of like food related.
Yeah, for like it's all dependent on the creator's like background. So yeah, we have food icks. Stealing some of your chips or food while they wait for their own meal. Is that an ick or not?
Such an ick, I think.
I actually don't mind if it's my friends.
I feel like ask.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like if you're waiting for
Fair.
a meal, like don't take my chip. Also, especially if you want to take a photo.
Oh yeah, no.
wait,
oh my god, if I haven't taken a picture, don't
that's
touch
what I mean.
anything.
Like just if I've got served mine.
But I think it just depends on our relationship.
Yeah, it depends on the relationship.
And like, if I don't really know you, please don't
Yeah,
touch my
don't
food.
touch
that's really
So-
strange.
It's like,
Don't
if it's
touch
like my
my
best
food.
friend, I don't care.
Yeah,
it's
too
fine.
fair.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Okay. Mixing ketchup and mayo together, is that an ick or not? I do that.
Okay, I would say it's an ick. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I just mixing them. I just can't. I feel like
Oh my god, no, it's so
Really?
nice. I love it.
It tastes really good.
I don't mind mixing them. Let's just say like on my own plate. But if there's like two pots, like a pot of ketchup and a pot of mayo, and then like someone dips in both, like in the ketchup and then the mayo, I'm like, no. You've now messed up the entire mayo pot.
Oh, really?
I'll ask for a new one.
Fair enough. Did you not see they had a video the other day that was like showing you how to do it correctly so you don't mess it up? I've completely forgotten it.
I need to
But
see
you
Of
meant to-
ketchup and mayo?
Yeah, you start with
the mayo.
maybe mayo
Mayo,
and then
yeah.
ketchup and it doesn't transfer.
Oh, okay.
I
Maybe I'll
see.
need that.
I
No.
see. Yeah, no, it tastes really good.
No, I know
Have
it
you
tastes.
tried it?
I know it
Yeah,
tastes
yeah.
good. Yeah,
Not
yeah.
an
It's
ick,
just
not
like
an ick. I like
Okay.
that.
Eating just the pizza and leaving the crusts. Is
I
that
do
icky or
that
not?
too.
I do that as well.
Oh, I eat the whole thing. I try to. I don't know. I think it's just ingrained in me. I have to eat everything
crust
on,
just makes
on
me
my
unhappy.
plate.
Actually, it depends. Like if you've got a nice sauce for the crust.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
If there's a
Then-
sauce for the crust,
yeah.
then
Then I can do it.
It feels like a
Yeah.
separate meal.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah.
So not really
Same to
icky.
the end.
No.
No.
Starting to eat before the whole table has their food. Is that an ick or not?
I do that too. This is really like calling me out.
I feel like
if it's gonna get cold,
Yeah,
I
if
will
it's gonna get
start.
cold, like,
I'll
start.
wait
Yeah.
as long as I can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
But yeah.
I'm just like, I think if we haven't said that, oh yeah, you can eat your food. I don't know. It's a respect thing in my
yeah,
head.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you just started eating and you haven't said anything, I'd be like, that's like a little bit rude / icky. Sorry.
I feel like these would be so different if it was like a first date. Then everything I think would change.
Yeah, if it was the
Yeah,
first date,
well,
I'd
if
like,
it was a
no.
first date, would that be icky?
Oh, massive. Like
Yeah.
my food hasn't come when you started eating.
Oh yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
like, no, I'd be like,
I'd be
no.
like,
so
I don't think we're
rude.
gonna
not
see each
see
other
you
again.
again. Yeah. Okay. Ordering a well done steak.
Oh, ick.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree.
hate that.
I agree. Medium rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom does this,
Well,
and I don't understand
Does
it.
what? I mean-
She doesn't like bloody things, so she just has it all the way well done.
It's not the same.
It's just
not
like
the
so
same.
chewy and hard. It's frustrating. Frustrating. I'm like, just try it like medium rare. It's really nice. Okay. When someone says they don't like a certain food but eats it anyway.
Yeah, ick. Sorry.
Ick. Why did you say it?
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, I said this.
And do you know what the worst is? If it's
What?
something on my plate and you said you don't like it,
Yes.
so you don't get it, and then you start eating mine.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's even worse.
Oh, that's even worse. You're not having any. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like don't say I don't like. I don't know what it would be. Yeah, and then eat mine.
Yeah. I'm like, you can try it. That's as far as we're gonna go. Order your own one.
Yeah, order your own.
Oh my god.
Same with like dessert. It's like, oh, I don't want dessert. And then let's just say I got dessert, and then you eat my dessert. No, like we're not sharing it.
Okay, so this is very specific. When you've gone out, right? You've gone out. You're at an event, or maybe it's like out, like clubbing or whatever. When they order meat at the end of the night, is that ick or not? This might be
like
really
a kebab
specific.
or something.
Like a kebab. Is that icky?
No, it's not too icky. I mean, I would normally go for like chips or something.
I'd probably get a kebab.
Really?
Yeah.
Or chicken nuggets.
I get like cheesy chips.
Oh, I love cheesy chips.
Yeah, that's not an ick, I'd say.
Yeah, I was going through a list of icks, food icks on the internet, and I saw that one. I was like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel icky towards it. But then I order it. I'm actually double standards.
Yeah, no, I completely am.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I do it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if you do it, I don't know.
Okay. When people need to split the bill to the very like penny.
Ick.
Yeah, just split. Just be
I'm just like, God, why does it have to be split to the like 5p? I don't get it.
That I can't.
Yeah.
Big ick. I've been out with
It's really frustrating. Yeah.
And the thing is, I've also noticed that it's people that have more money that do it. Like, I've been out with a few people
It's so
and I'm
annoying.
like, you could probably cover the whole bill. And they're like, well, actually, this was over 50p. And
like what I ordered was this. Ugh,
yeah. And it happened once with me and with people. And there was this one lady and she actually had her kids there. And she basically made it a thing of like, oh, her kids only ordered this or blah, blah, blah. And like the other kids had like an extra ice cream, which was like £1.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, okay. And then after she had like taken her own section, one of the other people that we were with just paid for the whole bill.
Yeah.
And she was absolutely fuming because then obviously he didn't pay for her section because she had taken herself away and was like, oh, I'm not part of this. I'm going to pay for my meal. And she looked really upset. And I was like, well, that's what you get for trying to add an extra £1 to our bill. I was like, it's a child's ice cream.
Yes.
Like, how much is that going to affect anyone?
Honestly, ridiculous.
Big ick. That's probably my worst ick. Oh.
Yeah, annoying.
I feel annoyed now.
Yeah. Thing is, though, we don't know what their financial situation is. You do.
That was the problem.
And it was okay. Fair, fair enough. Okay, last ick. People who don't hold their knife and forks well, or even the wrong way round.
No key. Yeah, I hold them the wrong way around.
I hold them the wrong way around.
I think you do as well.
Yeah.
No, but doesn't it depend on what?
Hand?
Yeah.
But doesn't it depend on what hand you write?
I think I'm like
I do hold them the wrong way around.
Yeah.
I have my fork in my right hand.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it's meant to be the other way.
Yeah. Oh, I used to get told off a lot.
I got told off a lot as well.
Yeah.
I think by the time I got told off, I was like, I can't do anything about it.
I can't change it now.
Yeah. Okay, but what happens if they hold their like
if it's like
really weird?
If you're like, no, that's like that's so icky. Like the other way around, if you do it nicely, fine, but like don't.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
No. Caveman. Oh.
Amazing.
That is the end of our ick round. But thank you so much, Diana, for coming on today. Where can people find you?
Fun.
Here, you plug yourself.
Plug yourself. We'll
Instagram,
put it on the screen.
At Diana's.delicacies and the same on TikTok.
Amazing.
Go follow everyone. But yeah, thank you for joining us and we'll catch you next time.